Hey, what's up YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video game review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at Assassin's Creed Origins for the PS4, also available on Xbox One, and I think there might be an Xbox One X version. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have an Xbox in general, and PC as well. And I do want to point out that my review is based off of playing this on the base PS4. I don't have a PS4 Pro or Slim for that matter. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage, I'll have a link in the description of this video and you can check it out. So it's been 10 years since the Assassin's Creed series has come out, and that series has had some highs and lows over the years. Some of the highest points have been basically some of the entries such as Assassin's Creed 2, along with Revelation and Brotherhood. I think they re-released it earlier this year as part of the Assassin's Creed Ezio collection though. And of course we had Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag as well, as it takes place during the age of pirates though. However, as interesting and as long running as that series has been for 10 years, it has also hit a lot of low points as well. Not everybody is a big fan of Assassin's Creed 3, even though I technically didn't hate the game in any way. I actually enjoyed it to a certain extent though. But the lowest point for the series had to be in 2014 when Assassin's Creed Unity came out though. And while I didn't hate the story or anything like that, I mean, I'm all for how the Assassin's Creed series takes place during these historical events and everything like that. It was the quality of the game. There were reports of it being buggy and glitchy. There were cases where characters were missing facial animations, climbing up invisible walls, or falling through the world map though. And there were also audio issues from what I understand. It became a really buggy and poorly performed game, not to mention it ran, from what I've been told, some people pointing to running at 15 frames per second, which is interesting considering that year Ubisoft talked about how 30 frames per second was cinematic. Makes you kind of wish they probably should not have said that though. Well, and of course, to top it all off, the infamous review embargo, in which they try to use that to cover it up to prevent people from finding out just how bad the game was, and they suffered a major backlash for this. Sega did also with Sonic Boom: Rise of the Lyrics. The end result was that Ubisoft would basically suffer a drop in their stock value. I believe it was 9 points, I'm not 100% sure, on the NASDAQ, to basically responding to this by canceling the season pass and offering one free game to download over a selection of games that they have, and claim that they will be reevaluating their review embargo policy though. But the damage was done when that happened, and next year in 2015 they released Assassin's Creed Syndicate, a game that was definitely better, not perfect, but better though. But unfortunately, even though it may have gotten a better response from a lot of people, it did not sell pretty well, and I think some of it was people still felt the sting for what Unity did, and certainly did not trust Ubisoft though. In response to this though, Ubisoft decided they were not going to do a yearly release of Assassin's Creed, which is probably a smart thing, and sort of take their time with this though. Fast forward to 2017 though, and Assassin's Creed Origin has come out though. And so, has Ubisoft learned any lessons from the debacle from Unity? I will say, in a way, yes, they did. After playing the game for about 2 weeks or so, I will say that this is definitely an improvement over Unity, and certainly a step in the right direction. It's not perfect, but it's certainly getting there. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons? So let me straighten this out. Alright, so why don't we get started with the pros? The first pro is the story. I actually like the story in this one. I like the fact that we're exploring, ancient Egypt and so on. So that's been one of the big things about the Assassin's Creed series. It's a story to explore these famous historical events, whether it's Black Flag with its the whole pirates, or 3 during the American Revolution, or in this case Syndicate during the Industrial Revolution. Story has always been the interesting part of the Assassin's Creed series, and this one, exploring during during the dawn of time, during the ancient Egypt civilization when pharaohs ruled and all that, is really neat. So visually, story-wise, I really do like it. The next one is the visuals, and I will say that the visuals are definitely an improvement. The visuals definitely look better than they did in Syndicate, and they look certainly better than Unity, but definitely look a little bit better than what Syndicate is. The vast Egyptian desert looks impressive, and so on. So, from a visual standpoint, it looks good. It's an improvement, though. The next one is, of course, the combat system. This is probably the most interesting part, though, and that is the fact that rather than how they did it in the past, where you parry and just like wait until an enemy attacks and you hit the button at the right time, and then you can attack as well. The combat feels a little bit more fluid. It feels more like, a little bit more like a hack and slash in a way. I mean, there's still some strategy into it, don't get me wrong. I mean, there are cases where you don't want to fight an enemy that's at a much higher level than you are, but I do feel that the combat is a little bit more hack and slash like than it was in the past Assassin's Creed games, and I really don't have a problem with that, though. I really do enjoy that. Which brings me to the last part that I do like, is the RPG mechanics and the loot system. Every time you complete a quest, you do get experience points, which are used to basically level up your character. Someone can get some new skills and everything, but every time you level up, your health and your damage increases, being able to do more damage, though. And what's interesting is you also have to keep an eye on, your enemy's level. Like, for example, if you're at level 5, you probably don't want to fight an enemy at level 10 because they could probably beat you very easily. So I do like the RPG system in the game. I also like the loot system as well, where you basically can find things such as supplies for your weapons, gold, stuff you could trade, to even animal parts that are used, whether you find them and looting a building, to going out to hunt, to use to craft and upgrade stuff. Sometimes you can upgrade armor to increase your defense, or certain patches to certain items to increase your health, or increase how much of your tools you could carry, such as ranging from smoke bombs or darts and so on. So I do like the idea of this whole RPG and crafting system, and I would like to see Ubisoft expand upon that in, say, future Assassin's Creed games. So RPG and loot system, like it though. Alright, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we are going to get to the cons of Assassin's Creed Origins and my thoughts about the microtransactions in the game as well. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, we are back with part 2 of our video review of Assassin's Creed Origin, the PS4 version to be exact. So now that I gave you my pros and what I did like about the game, why don't I get started with the cons and tell you what I don't like. So as far as the cons go, I'll start up with the first one. The first one I do want to point out is that the visuals in the game can be kind of a hit and miss, though. As I said, the visuals are an improvement from the past Assassin's Creed games, and they do hold, and there are times when the game actually does look good. But there are times when the game does look a little bit terrible. It does have the same kind of ugliness that the Assassin's Creed series also kind of has a little bit in some of the character designs. And in some cases, some characters don't look as impressive in any way, and some of the environments are kind of sometimes. Though I just want to point out I'm playing this off of the base PS4 version. I don't have a Pro or have an Xbox One X or anything like that. I'm basing this off of the Pro version though, okay? I mean, it's not terrible looking, but it's not something to write home about. And I've seen other PS4 games that really just blow it out of the water, and unfortunately this one doesn't. Again, not bad, but not anything great though. The next thing I do want to point out is that there are some bugs and glitches, minor ones that I have run in based excuse me, based on my playtime with it. I've seen cases where characters usually get stuck in the wall, or or just keep running and all that stuff. And there are some times when the game kind of glitches just a little bit in some. Okay, so I think that might be where the character walked into the wall though. And one time, basically during my time with the game, I had a case where the frame rate sort of took a bit of a dip. I think this was during one of the missions that happened when you were searching. I think one of the main characters was visiting one of his relatives in a temple, and he was playing hide and seek with his kids though. And there was one time when the game the frame rate just went really, really bad, and the game kind of stuttered for a bit, but then it just picked up and just went back to normal. Now I don't know if this had to do with if they released a patch, or if this had to do with the patch they released, or if they're going to release another one down the road, but there are occasional bugs and glitches based on my time with it. Not anything game breaking or anything that basically lose my save file or anything like that. I haven't run into anything like that at all, but it is something worth to point out. There are some minor bugs and glitches that I have run into in the game, but later on, further down the game, I haven't run into anything huge or anything that prevented me from playing the game though, but it is something worth to point out though. The next thing I do want to point out is the camera, which can be both a hit and miss sometimes. For the most part, the camera works out fine though, especially when you're moving your character around and all. During combat, it can be a bit of an issue though, especially when you're trying to see where the enemies are and you're trying to hit them, and sometimes the camera could be in an angle you don't want it to be though. There is a lock on though. You can lock onto your character, lock onto the enemy, however, it's not exactly 100% perfect though, so the camera to me can be sort of an issue sometimes in the game. And last but not least though, as much as I enjoyed the game, as much as I have enjoyed Assassin's Creed Origin, I have to say that you can't ignore the fact that it borrows some of the sameness that the Assassin's Creed series is known for, like basically, climbing up to the top to a certain building to look around the area to unlock other activities. It's like that's one of those things. The stealth, if you know how to do the stealth, that's another thing as well. So it still has that sameness that the Assassin's Creed series is known for. Some of it could be good or bad depending on how you want to look at it though. But overall, there is that sameness that is still there. Overall, I have to say Assassin's Creed Origin is a step in the right direction. I do think Ubisoft did actually put some time and effort on this one though. Like I said, I think the combat is fun. I like the RPG and the loot mechanics in the game though. And I definitely like the direction this is going with Assassin's Creed Origin though. It's not perfect, but it certainly is a step in the right direction that does at least make up for what happened with Assassin's Creed Unity or not. Whether or not that will bring people back who were disappointed with Unity remains to be seen, although Ubisoft is saying the game has done very well so far, so that's good if true though. But overall, I have to say it's not perfect, but it's definitely it is definitely a step in the right direction, and I would like to see them expand upon what they did with Origin in their next Assassin's Creed game though. Just to make sure, for Ubisoft, don't do a yearly release though. Take your time and try to work on it though, okay? I really don't want to see this series go down and be forgotten though. So make sure, I'm willing to wait, 2 or 3 years or so on. I follow the old saying though that Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, once said, which does hold truth to in some ways. It's better to, I'm not 100% sure if he said this, but I think it's better to delay a game rather than release it, that's unfinished or not. I don't know if he exactly said it that way, but I just would prefer that. So hopefully that the next Assassin's Creed game, they could improve upon certain areas though. But until then, as far as this one goes, it's worth taking a look, and it's definitely a step in the right direction. Before I end this video, I do want to talk about one of the controversies Assassin's Creed Origin has, and that is the case of the microtransactions. I'm sure most of you are aware that it has existed in the game, though, and it's worth pointing out. I do want to point out, and I'm only basing this on my time with the game. I can't speak for anybody else who has played the game or not, though. I'm only speaking on my behalf and my behalf only. And I have to say is, so far, the microtransactions have not been an issue compared to some of the reports that have come out about Warner Brothers with Middle-earth: Shadow of War, about how the thing is shoved in your face or not. As far as I could tell, there was only one time in the game when the game mentions the shop, you know, where you used your microtransaction or Helix or credits, though, and that's basically it. And for the most part, a lot of the stuff I was being able to get in the game without using microtransaction. I'm not saying that microtransactions are great or anything like that. I understand people are pretty much don't like it, and I don't disagree with it. And I do think it does feel a bit unnecessary to put in Assassin's Creed Origin, though, and I will agree with that argument. That said, so far, despite the microtransactions being in there, I haven't run into a situation where I found myself where I had to use it or anything like that, though, so I do want to point that out as well, okay? Again, I don't disagree with the argument. I don't disagree with people who hate microtransactions and $60 games and all that stuff. I don't disagree with it, but I just wanted to point out, though, that so far I haven't run into a situation where I had to spend more money, you know, use the microtransaction or anything like that. So I just want to point that out as well, too. Okay, and this concludes this video review of Assassin's Creed Origin for the PS4, though. And again, these are my opinions, but what are yours? Did you pick up Assassin's Creed Origin yet, though? Have you played the game? Have you not played it, though? Do you think it's an improvement over the past Assassin's Creed games, though? Do you like the direction they are going with it? Do you not like the direction they are going with it, though? What about the microtransactions? Have that become an issue with you? Is that preventing you from buying the game? Has it become an issue while you're playing the game? Or has it not become an issue at all? Do you agree with what I said in this review? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to. And feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. It's evening here in Southern California, so I'll be getting ready for bed soon. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, for Southern California, I wish you all a good evening then. Bye!